All right. Hello, everyone. I know we're now live. I'm going to give folks just a couple minutes to join as we're kind of going live here. Welcoming everyone to the live stream for our TMF University Town Hall today. Again, Ben Rogers here, excited to be with everyone. So if we're just kind of waiting for a couple of seconds or a minute here, no worries. I know we're right here at the top of the hour at noon Eastern. So again, excited to be with everyone today to kind of go through our town hall, some background about TMF University, what we offer, and then also hear from everyone that is able to participate in the live stream. If there are questions, you can certainly send those in. As we announced the town hall, we also got some preemptive questions for us to discuss today. So we have a mixture of kind of what comes through. So excited to kick everything off. I'm just going to take myself a quick water break before we get started here in the next couple of minutes shortly. And of course, if you have any proactive questions or thoughts, you can certainly filter those into our team, however works best for you. We're happy to address any of those questions. But I guess I can go ahead and get us started. For the sake of time here, we are at the top of the hour. I want to be mindful. That's something I try to do in the program as we deliver TMF University. I know a lot of times it's in addition to what you do each day. So I want to be mindful of the time that you do spend with us. So just wanted to kind of welcome everyone to our town hall for TMF University. We like to do these every so often just to do a touch base, remind everyone about the program, what it offers. We get lots of questions all the time. So we take this opportunity as we continue to evolve the program over time to talk about some of the changes that we've made and exciting things that we're working towards. So I just kind of wanted to start first and foremost with, what is TMF University? What is the purpose of TMF University? As a learner, what are some of the expectations that you should have when you enter the program? So first and foremost, TMF University is an accredited program with IAOCR. So what that means, and it's kind of a differentiator for us in the industry, is we are an accredited program that challenges learners on the concepts of what being a TMF professional is. So as part of that accreditation, you may have participated in courses outside of the TMF space in your learning journey throughout your life, or oftentimes you may get a certificate of attendance. You may have a short quiz. A lot of us, as we join our organizations, we maybe have a role-specific training that has a short quiz that say we've passed this particular module. But with this accreditation process with IAOCR, it's quite rigorous. So there are learning outcomes that are developed of what does it mean to be a TMF professional. When you complete this program, what are some of the expectations that we have of you and some of the skills that you should now possess to be successful within the trial master file space? So that has been in collaboration with industry expert opinion, with IAOCR to develop those learning outcomes. So they are formally documented so that everyone that completes the program, there's that consistency, right? So as part of that accreditation, it's a professional accreditation that you will have that's meaningful as we continue to have more graduates at hiring managing positions or hiring manager positions at director level. They know what that accreditation means, right? They know you are an accredited TMF manager or TMF associate that's gone through the rigorous program that is TMF University. So with that accreditation, again, there are specified learning outcomes that we hope everyone will achieve in their journey as a TMF professional. Again, we partner with IAOCR to deliver that accreditation. So that's that independent verification. So that's not to scare learners from participating in the program, but as part of that verification, it allows you to demonstrate your understanding of concepts. So perhaps you're like myself, you're maybe not the best test taker. They make you a little bit anxious, but you could explain something all day long if somebody gave you the opportunity. So as part of that accreditation, that's what we allow you as a learner to do. You're able to take the concepts that we talk through in the course and then apply that in our assessment portfolio process that allows you to demonstrate that full understanding of those particular topics. And that's something we really pride ourselves on in TMF University. Yes, those assessment portfolios, they do feel a little bit like homework, but the benefit is seen when you go participate in interviews later on in your career or shortly after or even during your participation in TMF University, or as you are developing processes or updates within your organization, that practical application allows you to think more holistically about being a TMF professional and managing the trial master file. So we often receive feedback from learners that it's really helped them to either advance their own career. They feel more confident in interviews because they're able to more broadly address questions. It's not just a very narrow answer. They can really speak to all aspects of the question. If you've ever been in an interview, sometimes you feel like you're asked kind of a complex question and you're like, how do I really address this? We often receive feedback that TMF University lets you see all sides of things. So you can really talk about that specific question and show you have a good understanding. Learners also say that it really helps them in process development within their organization. We can often get very siloed in our knowledge. So what that means is we get focused on what we're doing now, right? Within this organization, within this role, TMF University pulls you out of that, right? You're now thinking about best practices within the industry. So taking those skills and transferring them to where you currently are. You can think outside of your current box and maybe see a different solution that you perhaps wouldn't have seen otherwise. So we certainly challenge learners in that aspect as well. Just a quick elevator topic here of or elevator pitch is what we call it, your 30 seconds, right, to tell people about the program. So TMF University is going to be system agnostic and best practice approach forward. So what that means is sometimes learners will ask, do we learn in a certain system? What if I use a different system? Is this still applicable for me? Is this going to be, it's delivered by LMK, right? LMK Clinical Research Consulting. Is this going to be the LMK way of doing things? What about my organization? We certainly think from what is the industry standard and expectation? What are these regulatory agencies that we work with? What are their requirements? So that regardless of what organization that you're currently working with or may work with in the future, you can take what you learn in TMF University and really apply that anywhere. That's the same thing with these systems that we work with. We remain system agnostic. So we don't prioritize using one particular system over another, which we see as another added benefit. So you may work in a system A, for example, and if we were to teach you everything in system B, how transferable or beneficial might that be to you on your learning journey? So that's why we remain system agnostic, and many people really like that approach. One thing I also really want to highlight is, what career? That's a question that we get quite often is, if I complete TMF University, what career is it preparing me for? Why should I take these courses? And it's really up to you and your learning journey, right? So within the TMF space, this really excites me because when I started in the TMF space about 12 years ago, it seemed to be you had your management team and your document quality reviewers. That seemed to be a bulk of the work in the TMF space. In those years since, we've really seen a growth effort in TMF management and oversight. We're seeing growth within departments to have beyond document review. We're having TMF leads, TMF plan developers, TMF QC oversight, metrics and reporting. All of these advancements have created these additional roles and careers within the space. So TMF University, whether you have no to little experience or you're well within your career and you're at the director or leadership level within a department, it has something for everyone. What we're training are TMF professionals. It's not role specific. So we're not training you to be a document specialist or a document reviewer, a TMF lead, associate manager. We're training you to be a TMF professional. So we're touching on the foundational topics, things like document review and quality control, to more complex topics like metrics reporting, audits and inspections, and TMF process development and oversight. So there is something for everyone. You can make certainly what you want out of the courses. You can evolve your career how you see fit. We've seen people be successful in interviews for document reviewer positions. We've seen people update organizational processes after the fact as part of the management team. So truly, TMF University offers a little bit for everyone. You don't have to have a certain level of experience to be successful. That's often a question that we get as well. If I don't have a lot of experience, will this be the right fit for me? TMF University is not a one-size-fits-all approach. We do offer 9 courses that are quite comprehensive in your learning journey as a TMF professional, but you may only be interested in the more foundational or discovery level topics. That's okay as well. We're here to support you in your journey as a TMF professional and what interests you. So just reach out to us. We're certainly happy to talk through what might work best for you. But I know I've kind of given a lot of information here in the last 9 minutes or so. So I think we might have some questions that pop up as they rolled in or that we've kind of got an anticipation for the event. So we'll see maybe what comes up here in the next couple of minutes. I'll sit back and see what questions we have. All right, I see my stream coming here with the questions. We'll see if any of these pop up. I need to have my my Jeopardy theme music playing as we're waiting for the first couple of questions to come in. There we go. Okay, so how can TMF University provide a competitive edge in the pharmaceutical or biotechnology sectors? So this is kind of a layered response, right? It certainly can touch on individual learners and how this can provide you a competitive edge versus perhaps peers that are interviewing for the same position, or just in general from an organizational perspective, how this can make you more comprehensive as an organization. So let's maybe talk about both, right? So I certainly don't want to position TMF University as something that's going to be a guarantee for your career as a TMF professional, correct? We certainly are instilling with you the skills and knowledge that are necessary to be a TMF professional, but a lot of times that's dependent on you as a learner, right? And the motivation that you have to advance your career or to get into the TMF space. But as I mentioned, in TMF University, we're really thinking holistically about the trial master file. So where maybe some people are very focused on document QC aspects, you can both be asked the same question, right? One person may be very narrow in their focus, and you're thinking about the different layers. It's not only document QC, but it also impacts our people. There's technology considerations that we have to worry about. Don't forget, we also have to update our process, right? So when you think more broadly about the question being asked, that's your competitive edge that TMF University is giving you. From an organizational perspective, it really depends on kind of the organization that you work for. If we were to take CROs, for example, lots of times we are competing for the business of clients, right? So we want to make sure that we position ourselves in a way that makes us the provider of choice for those individuals. So TMF University is preparing. So if there's individuals out there that are considering having their team go through TMF University, again, it's really pulling you outside of what you're currently doing, right? So within your organization, you're very used to maybe the way that you're doing things, and we've done this for years, right? We've done TMF QC for 10 years. We have our process. It works for us. But is it working as best as it could? Right? So this is now your competitive edge. You're thinking of things that maybe you wouldn't have been exposed to otherwise, because you're kind of limiting yourself to your own internal perhaps capabilities or knowledge or mindset. And sometimes that does limit us, right? We kind of think about where we are and not where we want to be or how we get there. So that's really how you're going to differentiate yourself, is having those opportunities to explore those concepts outside of the constraints of your current parameters. So two ways to look at it: individually, if that's your interest, or also how am I going to impact my organization and make us the provider of choice. Let's see. That was question one. We'll see if a couple more questions come through here. I'm sorry, I'm quite chatty today, so apologies for the water breaks there, but I'll make sure. Just some questions coming in about charges for the advanced course. So for any information related to pricing, we can certainly make sure this is broadcast. All of our pricing information is publicly available, so we are trying to be transparent there for learners. If you're interested in individual courses, so not seeking the full accreditation, you just want to participate in individual courses, perhaps you can certainly reach out. We provide that information, but all of their pricing information related to one level, so discovery, immersion, or mastery within the program, are available on our education website. I'm going to kind of put this out there to see if there's maybe we can post that for individuals to see if they want the link to that, or we can make sure that we provide that after the fact for you all to access. So does TMF University offer any resources after graduation, such as updated training or alumni outreach? So this is a big initiative for myself for 2023 into 2024. So you hear this term after graduation. So we actually do have a graduation ceremony. It's optional for individuals to attend. We encourage attendance, but it's shortly after you complete your time within the program. We invite all of our learners back to kind of think about, what did you learn in the program? How has it benefited you? What did you really enjoy about the program? We can collaborate again with the peers that we worked with. For some of us, if you're in the program for the entire duration, all 9 courses, it takes about 3 months total, because we run the courses 1 day a week throughout the month, 3 weeks. So you kind of get to know individuals within your course. We come back for graduation and we celebrate, talk about successes that we've had since then, because usually it's a few months after we've completed the courses. And that's just to allow us to reflect on our time within the program, what benefits we've seen. Have we had an opportunity to, recent graduates have shared they've actually updated processes within their organization. They've actually transitioned careers. So they've advanced their career, or they've actually made the switch to clinical research into like a document reviewer or TMF associate role. So we like to hear that feedback as well. We do try to have a ongoing conversation with learners through our LinkedIn page for TMF University, so that when we hear updates, like ICH GCP R3 that's coming through, we try to be proactive in our communication there and talk about the impact that you may see as it relates to the trial master file. So we do want to kind of be that leader in continuing outreach and education. And we certainly keep the door open if there are questions. People often, many months after they participate in TMF University, they may have just a quick question that they want to ask, a knowledge check almost. Hey, I know we talked about this, but now I'm actually applying it. Does this make sense? We're here for you, right? We want to make sure that we're there to support you in that lifelong journey and as your journey as a TMF professional. So absolutely, we do our best to stay in contact. And really, if you have things for us, we're happy to engage with you as well. And I will say one thing just to add, I see one more question came in. Access to materials is one thing that it actually provide tools, templates to improve quality, compliance, and metrics. So it kind of ties into both components here. So you will have access to the materials from the courses. So like recordings and slides, if you do want to reference that information after the fact, that will be available to you post-graduation. So we don't limit your ability to access that. As far as tools and templates to provide oversight for quality, compliance, and metrics. So we do reference tools throughout TMF University. The challenge here in providing you a standardized tool, right, is your organization may not have the same metrics capabilities, system capabilities. So instead, what we focus on is here's what you need to capture and give you that kind of skill set to then create that tool for your organization. So we'll workshop the ideas. If you're looking to capture this specific metric about document quality, how does your system do that, right? What is your metadata? If you're looking to capture filing information, what are your components of metadata that you need to have so that your system can generate that metric for you? If you're looking to measure completeness, it's not just a metric, right? There's a lot of management around that completeness component. How do you ensure that things like placeholders or expected documents are captured within the system so that report is accurate? So we talk about the concepts to build those. There are certain industry initiatives that are out there from a metrics perspective, from an index perspective that we do provide to learners. So those industry available standards we certainly provide as a frame of reference. We've also worked with learners. We do have office hours with all of our courses. So sometimes, and those are optional. So it's like after we've gone through the training together in that same week, I'll have some time on the calendar. You're welcome to attend. And then we can kind of talk through, if you have an example to bring up, we can kind of talk through that in real time. Sometimes people have reference like, hey, in the course, we talk about this. Could you maybe just go into a little bit more detail of what that looks like? So I started to do that as I lead the trainings. I say, this is what it would look like if you were to create that tool. So again, we're giving you the skill set to build it, but we're happy to work through. If you have questions in the course, we can say, hey, this is what I would do. And we do signpost to those industry standards as well. So how long is each course? Great question. So currently as delivered, the courses are scheduled for 3 hours. If you look on our website, at the bottom, I think it indicates they're in the Eastern Standard Time Zone. They are 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Mondays, and then 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern on Wednesdays. So the courses are scheduled for 3 hours. Some of the courses take that full 3 hours. Some are a little bit shorter. I'd say our shortest course is around 2.5 hours. You're not listening to me the entire time. There will be some breaks in between. So there's usually 20 to 25 or 30 minutes worth of breaks just to kind of break up the course material. So you're looking at about 2 hours to 2 hours and 15 minutes of content. And then at the end of each course, those assessment portfolios that I mentioned a little bit earlier, we actually go through those together. So it's kind of like a, hey, here's based off past experiences. Here's kind of what we expect you to, we expect you to complete this portfolio, provide some guidance on, don't say this, think about it in a different way. Delivery of material is usually around 2 hours to 2 hours and 15 minutes. And then we have some administrative stuff that takes another 5 to 15 minutes or so, but scheduled for 3 hours. And then as part of that, I think more questions may come in. As part of that, it's fine that one can totally stay up. The question that just came through, I was just going to mention with each course, there are 9 courses total within TMF University, and every level has 3 courses. So Discovery consists of 3 courses, Immersion is 3, and Mastery is 3. There's the question, what kind of systems do you teach? The DIA, the TMF reference model, is there any other tools? So within TMF University, from an eTMF perspective, what systems do we talk about? We actually don't leverage any eTMF platform when we are going through the training material. We will actually have opportunities in the program for you to perform things like document quality control, like a mock TMF QC, but we leverage publicly available databases for that. So it's not any specific system of use, because again, if you are learning in system A, but you do everything in system B, or you never work in system A, how is that beneficial for you right now? So that's why our system agnostic approach is to leverage just kind of essentially an Excel workbook online that allows you to perform those reviews. But we can certainly address questions. So when we talk about like metadata, for examples, we talk about what your system should have. So we talk about, these are the checks that you want to do. We talk about validation. We talk about the consideration for workflows in your system. So we really talk about how you need to make your system work for you and what are some of the things that you can do. And it's also important to be mindful. We get that question quite a lot of, why don't you use a system? Well, even if we taught system A and you use system A, the way that you have implemented that system may not be the way that we teach. Your organization may not be paying for those particular features that may not be available to you based off your contract. So again, we don't want to limit what you're able to learn based off of our configuration. We do talk about the TMF reference model for, I think that's what's referencing for the DIA. Most of the times people say the DIA TMF reference model. We do an extensive review of the TMF reference model. As you all know, that's now aligned with CDISC, and they are doing some workshops, I think it's the TMF Interchange a little bit later this year, which is really exciting. We stay up to date on that. We do provide the most current version of the model for us to explore. Are there any other tools? So beyond the TMF index, we do certainly talk about TMF plans, the plan for performing TMF QC. We talk about creation, so tools and templates. We talk about the creation of like a document QC checklist, like what you need to have there to ensure consistency. We mentioned note to files. People are probably like, note to files? That seems pretty straightforward. Well, if you attend TMF University, we will talk about why note to files are sometimes a pain for us. So yes, we certainly touch on many different tools and resources that are available, but we don't necessarily prioritize any specific system. Doesn't mean, again, you can't ask a specific question about a system in the course as you're attending. People often say, oh, well, what we talk about in the course, you say, we can do it X, Y, and Z. At my organization, we do it this way in our system. Is that okay? We can certainly talk through that. Those kind of group discussions and dialogue are encouraged, and it really helps to make the program better. So great question. Absolutely. So this is actually talking about evolution of a product, right? So just like with our eTMF vendors, we want to see their product evolve over time. We certainly want to make sure that TMF University evolves over time. I've now been delivering the courses for about 2 years, and we continue to provide updates. So TMF University is not specific for sponsors or CROs. We've had vendors participate. We've had people outside the industry participate, sponsors and CROs. So we try to not prioritize one group over another, but capture all aspects so that we kind of can see all the different components. So if you've ever only worked for a CRO, you may not be mindful of some of the challenges of a sponsor, right? There's this concept, there's this thought that it's us versus them and we butt heads, but it's sponsor and CRO together versus the TMF. That's the way that we should kind of think about things. So we talk about that. And people often say, look, oh, I had never thought about that, or, that wasn't even a consideration of mine. And we do. So kind of tying back to the product evolution, we didn't really focus as much on sponsor oversight when the program was initially developed, but we've really seen that as an interesting topic for a lot of organizations, both on the CRO side and the sponsor side. The questions from CROs, can sponsors ask this of us? And sponsors ask, can we ask this of CROs or the vendors that we work for? So yes, we do have components of sponsor oversight integrated throughout the courses. A lot of the material too, when we deliver it, is delivered in a way, it doesn't necessarily matter if you're a sponsor or CRO. If you are managing the trial master file, these are the considerations that you want to have. And then when we need to integrate sponsor oversight from like a TMF health standpoint, metrics and reporting, we do that. And we also talk general best practices for like TMF plans. If you've outsourced it, what you want to make sure is in there. So sponsor oversight is absolutely part of TMF University. Oh, and I apologize. If you'll go back one more, Isaiah. I think I was reading quickly there. I think it was about proving oversight of CROs. We also do talk about proving. I read that as providing. We also talk about how you should demonstrate oversight. So I want to mention that component as well, because there's many different ways that sponsor oversight can be demonstrated. It does need to be documented and acknowledged, right? It has to be verifiable and proven. So we do talk about those strategies as well. So I just wanted to make sure I read that correctly. So proving and documenting, yes, we talk about that. So is there any specific course that includes TMF management in the sponsor, CRO, and site level? So the sponsor and CRO components will be integrated throughout all of the courses that we have. So TMF management is quite broad, right? There's many different components, and that's why we've broken them down into the 9 modules to kind of be a bit more granular in each area. The intro to TMF course is going to be our most broad course that's going to capture all of these expectations. We talk about the sponsors, we talk about CROs, and we talk about the sites and the investigator site files specifically in that course at a higher level. And then we kind of dissect that as we go throughout the TMF University program. I will say most of our focus in the program, when I say most, it's 95% of our focus is going to be on a sponsor trial master file, in the sense of like the TMF, whether it's managed by a CRO or a sponsor, that trial master file. And then we integrate expectations for site level documentation, because as we all know, site level documents make up a large percentage of our trial master file, but we don't talk as much about the management of the ISF. So like CRAs, for example, that are looking for like, how do I manage the ISF more effectively? We touch on that. We touch on some of the challenges, but our primary focus is going to be on the trial master file. But again, all of our courses are going to touch on various elements of TMF management, but that intro to TMF course is going to give you all 3 of those components at a high level. Some really great questions. And these are always fun for me to kind of see where the interest lies. That's another thing that I love about these, to kind of see what people are interested in. We see a lot of this sponsor conversation coming through. Oversight is a very big one. Absolutely. So good to see these types of questions. Oh, my favorite. Can you discuss some ways in which TMF University can enhance communication and collaboration between different stakeholders in clinical trials? So there's quite a few different ways that we can look at this. I mentioned the sponsor and CRO relationship. So I think I'm going to start there because we're both stakeholders, right? If a sponsor has outsourced activity to a CRO, we have to demonstrate oversight as that sponsor, right? So collaboration, communication, very important. There's kind of the mindset is the sponsor is outsourcing this activity because the vendor, the CRO, is that subject matter expert, right? I need you to carry out this specific task because you know it better than we do, perhaps, is the mindset that we have. And so sometimes there's performance issues that need to be addressed, or there's miscommunication on expectations. So we cover that in TMF University of what we need to be ensuring from a sponsor and CRO perspective to make sure that we are on the same page, that we're covering who is responsible for what. You don't want to be in a situation where you're in an audit or an inspection and you can't answer the question, who is responsible? I know this sounds very kind of elementary or foundational, professional, but these are still the issues that we see in audits and inspections and the feedback that we receive. So we do talk about ways to address situations. One of those things is, I just mentioned it, we have the sponsor and the CRO, and you're fighting, right? Because it's us versus them. That the sponsor has too much oversight. We're the CRO. We know what we're doing. Kind of leave us alone. Let us do it. But it should be us collaborating together against the trial master file. So that is the mindset that we try to encourage, is to be more open with communication. People are hesitant to ask questions, or can we ask the CRO for this? Let's talk about. You have a scenario. Let's talk about it. What would be the best practice here? And then we also have my favorite, which I'll try to be brief here, because anybody that's attended TMF University knows I can certainly spend hours talking about stakeholder engagement and functional area accountability. There's often the mindset, if your job title does not include document or TMF management, you're not responsible for the TMF, right? Many of us TMF professionals don't find that to be true, but outside of that, in clinical operations or safety or biostats, there's this weariness of, I don't know the trial master file. So I spend quite a bit of time in many of the courses in TMF University talking about how can we make this more simple for our other stakeholders, that it's not their day-to-day responsibility, right? We're all accountable for the trial master file at the end of the day, but how do we break this down? So what do we need to be doing as a TMF department to make this an easy to understand concept for other departments, to get that engagement with those individuals? Easier said than done. One thing with TMF University, I try to be transparent. I know a lot of times when we talk about how we should be doing things, it's easier to talk about it than to win people over. And I totally say that. I say, it's going to take some time. It's not going to be an easy transition, but here's what's generally the best practice and what's going to work most effectively. But I always know, again, I don't want anybody to think, Ben said it's going to be so easy for us to do this. There's always resistance to change, but we do talk about it from several ways. So from sponsor to CRO, or just internally functional area awareness and engagement. Absolutely, we cover that in many different areas: metrics, TMF QC, document QC, sponsor oversight, supporting each other during audits and inspections, process development. We cover it all, and how those stakeholders should be involved in many different ways. Let's see what else we got coming through here. I think I touched on this one, but again, to reiterate here, how many years, because I think this is an important one sometimes as we talk through, TMF University. Some people start to get a bit weary because they're like, I've never done metrics, or I've never developed a TMF process. What business do I have completing all of the accreditation, right? All 3 levels. So the way that TMF University is set up is that it is not required of you to have a certain level of experience to be successful. Being successful in TMF University is largely dependent on your dedication as a learner to taking the time to participate in the courses and then completing your assessment portfolios. The courses are designed so that if you complete the courses, you can complete those assessment portfolios and be successful. You don't have to have a large foundation already set. We've seen people with no experience, quite honestly. They're looking to get into the industry, be very successful. And we've actually seen people that have been in the industry for some years, they've actually struggled a bit more because they're so used to the way that they have done things, right? They don't think outside of the box. They're used to their organization. So you can struggle on both ends, absolutely, but you can be wildly successful with no experience or with 15 years plus experience. We've seen a wide range from literally 0 trying to get in, upwards of 20 plus years of experience. So really welcome to anyone. And you can also do kind of a rolling what is the word? Admission, essentially, into the program. So if you wanted to do maybe just the first couple of courses, and then you're like, I'm going to see how I feel. Can I be confident here? And then later you want to maybe add on those additional courses. We're absolutely happy to do that as well. It's not an all or nothing approach. You don't have to take, you can take 1 course, you could take 9 courses, you could take 6, 3, whatever works best for you. Another thing that I like to mention is we try to be mindful that TMF University, we know this is oftentimes maybe during your workday, so you're taking time away from work perhaps, or it's in the afternoon for you. So we know things that come up. So if you do need to perhaps defer your enrollment, we offer that opportunity as well for learners. We know life can change in an instant, so we want to support you as a learner. I will always say that. I don't want anybody to feel frustrated by the program or work gets really hectic, so you need a little bit more time. We will work with you, just to add that in as well to make sure you're successful. Is there course content on TMF closure and archiving? Yes. So we do talk in like our TMF technology course, we talk about some of the considerations for our eTMF systems and what we need to think about for archiving capabilities. We touch on in current regulations, some of the archiving capabilities. In process, we talk about and even kind of intro to TMF at the beginning, we talk about end-to-end management of the trial master file. So as we're closing the study, as we all know, or anybody who has closed a study, when it comes to the TMF, we think that should be the easy time, right? Everything's in there, but it's oftentimes the most stressful for the TMF space. Startup is usually pretty crazy for clinical operations, closeout for the TMF because people are rolling off all the time. You have different people leaving the study at different times, so it's a challenge. So yes, we do talk about closure considerations and we do talk about archiving as well at multiple points throughout the program. And I like these very specific questions, like targeted about things that you're interested in. Absolutely. And again, if there's individuals out there, if you're not necessarily as keen to this accreditation process, you're really focused only on a specific area. Like I really want to know more about archival and study closure. We communicate that with us and we can say, okay, this course is going to give you that understanding, or this is going to be the best course for you to take if this is your only interest. So if you're very focused, like you want to be somebody very focused on document quality control, we have that course. That could be your course of interest. But if you're someone who's like, I just want to be more comprehensive in my understanding of the TMF and, I want to lead a department or update our processes, maybe you want to go through all of the courses. Just let us know what's your topic of interest, what's your goal, and we can make those recommendations. If somebody told me I really only want to know about audits and inspections, do I need to take the other courses to be successful? No, you can just take audits and inspections. Yeah, okay. So could you provide sorry, I should read these out loud as I read them to myself. Could you provide some examples of how TMF training could improve problem-solving skills, especially when dealing with issues related to trial data or documentation? So for example, some of the things that we talk about in TMF University are thinking beyond just your initial response to a question. So for example, let's say, I'm trying to think of through some examples that have been asked, or maybe even learners have given feedback on in the past. We've had process recently. We've had some graduates who they were going through their process and they were thinking about like accountability of who should perform what task. And some of the language that they used was a bit vague. And something we talk about in TMF University all the time is you need to be pretty clear in your expectations, because the moment you give someone the opportunity to assume it's not them, they will assume it's not them and they're not going to perform that action. So what your intent is as you write the process, make sure that's clearly documented. So they were able to update that language to be more inclusive of the roles that were expected to carry out those duties. Other examples include things like, for example, if there's been a need, somebody's asked a question about indexing a document, right? So, hey, TMF manager, I have this particular document that I need to index. It's not on our TMF index. Where do you think it should go, right? So it's thinking beyond the initial response. So yes, think of a location of where it needs to be indexed, but now what are the other components, right? If that document comes up again 6 months later and you're no longer the TMF manager and somebody else asks the question, will the same response be given? How do we ensure that the same response is given? We talk through those steps in TMF University of the other updates and communication that needs to occur to ensure that ongoing consistency and management of the TMF. And we also talk, just thinking through problem solving is another one comes up, that's totally fine. But just like problem solving, like document QC, for example, for any of us that have been a document reviewer, I'll talk through some best practices. If you're questioning something, what's the best practice to do here? We talk through communication strategy and how the TMF, I'll fully admit it, it's pretty frustrating, right? For a lot of people, we often say in industry conferences, the TMF is too much fun. For lots of people outside of the TMF space, it's too much frustration. So we talked through some of those problem solving skills, as well as like, how do we overcome adversity to the trial master file, or how do we overcome like maybe a delicate situation between a sponsor and CRO? What type of communication needs to occur? What type of corrective or preventative action might need to occur to address that particular problem? We talked through those as well. Lots of fun questions that have come through. Let's see. Okay, so how can expertise in TMF affect your prospects of moving into a higher managerial role within a CRO, clinical research organization, CRO contract? So a clinical research organization. Again, it really is going to be dependent on your dedication as a learner and your motivation. So I do want to make clear that, again, you can go through the program in its entirety, right? You can sit through, if you go through all 9 courses, that's 27 hours with me, right? And if you're not listening, you're multitasking, you really don't absorb that material, it may not benefit you at all. But if you are willing to put in the time, complete your assessment portfolios, think critically, participate and engage throughout those topics. When we think about managerial roles and individuals who often find themselves in those positions, it's someone who thinks beyond just kind of one specific role, right? So if you're a document reviewer, and that's really the experience that you're getting within your organization is very granular at that role, perhaps taking this TMF University course exposes you to other things outside of your current role, right? You're looking at TMF QC best practices. You've never been involved in an audit and inspection. TMF University is preparing you for how to be involved, right? So when you're interviewing and you're being asked those questions of, when this scenario happens, what is your response? Oftentimes we have to rely on our experience, right, to navigate us through that particular question. But what if we've never had that experience? That's really no fault of our own, right? But we can talk about, hey, I learned, and based off of best practice, here seems to be the best approach to take in this particular scenario. But it's dependent on a lot of different factors in the TMF space, of course. But absolutely, we're giving you that kind of toolkit to be well-rounded in the TMF space. So you're not just, and I do want to make sure it's clear, we're not just preparing people to be an excellent document reviewer. So you're not just going to be focused on, attributability of documentation and pagination and legibility. It's much more, how do we write an effective process? How do we make sure we have oversight via metrics? What are some of the common challenges of managing a trial master file? We're really looking pretty comprehensively there. Let's see. I think we got a few more questions that might trickle in here, so we'll see. I'll take a quick water break to see if any come in. So please describe the title of the certification. So within TMF University, we offer 2 accreditations. The first would be our TMF Associate. So I've mentioned the 3 levels that we have: Discovery, Immersion, and Mastery. So our TMF Associate, if you were to register, that indicates that you are completing our Discovery and Immersion level. So that's 6 courses total with their associated assessment portfolios. Then we have our TMF Manager accreditation. That is inclusive of the Discovery and Immersion, as well as the Mastery courses. So you are completing all 9 courses to gain that accreditation. So those are the 2 accredited titles that we have: a TMF Associate and a TMF Manager. And if there's other clarification, I'm not sure if we can type if there's a more granular level to that. I'm happy to explore a bit more, but I think I've kind of given the 2 different that we have for the accreditation process. Oh, I'm reading again. Sorry. How can the knowledge and skills obtained from TMF University be used to mentor and train other team members, hopefully contributing to team success and individual career advancement? So I think we talked quite a bit about career advancement. So I'll focus here more on mentorship, because this is a passion of mine. That's why I'm in the training space and why I've stayed in the TMF space, is I really want people to prioritize the TMF and see that, as I mentioned earlier, there is a career for you in the TMF space beyond, document review or TMF QC. We're really seeing development of career paths in the TMF space. So again, TMF University, we are giving you the toolkit to think about the TMF more broadly. So again, you're thinking beyond maybe what you currently know or what you have currently experienced. We're talking about, especially from stakeholder perspectives, we're talking about some of the considerations that you need to have for training. We spend some time actually talking about what could be more effective training to make sure people are consistent in their approach. What types of tools and resources do you need to have available? Quick reference cards, recorded videos, instructor-led trainings, office hours. What's going to work for your organization? So again, it's giving you that skill set to be more confident in your approach to TMF management. You know, when I started my career, I'll remember as I was being introduced as a TMF manager, I sat in on a couple of meetings with the team that I was going to be expected to lead in the months coming after I completed my training. And I was just like, oh my goodness, like there's no way I'm going to be able to do what this person's doing. And then when I was finally in that seat and answering the same questions and doing the things that they were doing just a few months ago, I was like, oh my goodness, okay, I can do this. So we're really allowing learners to build that skill set of confidence in, you know, when they are addressing a question, they feel confident in the answer that they are giving rather. And then they also feel confident in the follow-up, right? So a lot of times we think about answering the question that's being asked, but what's maybe systemically there that we need to address? So going back to our process and making sure it's clear. Anytime anybody asks you a question, it's because there's some level of confusion. We need to understand why that confusion exists. Maybe is it just specific to this learner, or is it something that is specific to our training materials, our process? So we really talk about diving more deeply into that in TMF University. And we do, just thinking about team success, one thing we really prioritize in TMF University is consistency in our approach. So we do talk about how we make sure your teams are also consistent because some organizations can have many different individuals who are participating in the same department, and we all want to be doing the same task the same way. Inconsistency, what does that lead to? Audit or inspection findings. So. All right, let's see. I think we said maybe one more last question, or was that the last one? We'll see what comes up here. Just looking to see. All right. All right, I think that was our last one. Okay, great. So I know there were some very specific questions about the accreditation, the role. If there are follow-up questions to that, we are certainly happy to address more deeply. Just let us know, you know, if we need to have a separate call, a discovery call with you just to talk about the program, you want to know a little bit more, absolutely, please let us know. That is what we are here for. We do have a cohort that's coming up if anybody is interested in the beginning of July. If you would like to participate or want to know more, please let us know. We'll make sure that we provide the link to that registration as well, just in case anybody is curious. But like I said, we're here to support you on your learning journey. Oh, I see a question. I'll answer this one. Sorry. It just kind of popped up. So while it's here, you know, what's the duration for the qualified TMF manager course? So we're talking about July, right? Our new cohort. So if you were to start in July and you wanted to complete the TMF manager accreditation, discovery will be the month of July. So let's say you're going to be on our Monday cohort. You would have 3 weeks, 3 Mondays in a row where you would complete the discovery level. We have a short break and then we'll kick off in August, our immersion level. Then we'll have a short break and we'll kick off our mastery in September. So it's essentially aligned with the quarters. And this is just a way to allow you time to complete your assessment portfolios, to not fatigue you as a learner with the amount of trainings that we have, because they are quite long, right? 3 hours is a long time to listen to me and to engage with the trial master file. So if you complete the manager accreditation, it's aligned with the quarter. So it's 9 courses over a 3-month period. So a good follow-up or final question there. But yeah, just want to again mention to everyone, we do have the new cohort starting in July. So if you want to participate, please let us know. If you have more questions, please let us know. Reach out. We are happy to jump on the phone with you, answer via email, however you're most comfortable. But lots of good questions today. Again, I love seeing the specific level of focus that everyone has on kind of what they're hoping to learn. That is what always excites me. You know, I kick off every course. One thing just to add, I like to talk, sorry. I start every course with the question, what are you hoping to learn today? So while we have an accredited program that we are touching on the learning outcomes of being a TMF professional, I also ask each course, what are you hoping to learn? I will say 95% of the time, it's already covered in the material. The other 5%, I integrate into the conversation. You're not ignored as a learner in your learning journey. So keep that in mind as well. If you have those specific questions or topics you want to talk about in the course, I offer that opportunity for that engagement. So just want to leave everyone with that. Thank you, everyone, for your time. I appreciate the questions. Please let me know how I can be of assistance. But I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their day and has a great week.